So anyone in the watch space will at some point have found themselves drawn to a vintage Omega Seamaster on eBay or Chrono24 at some point. It's understandable why. For often under £1,000 or even under $2,000, you get yourself an old money style watch from a now luxury name. Arguably this could be one of the best watch purchases you make, be that for a man or a woman. But often you could find yourself in for more than you bargained for. But I might have found a similar watch also from Omega without any of the issues, a vintage Omega Seamaster Quartz piece. Welcome to Doug's Watches, the Thinking Watch channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to overthink some watches with me. Okay, so the Omega Seamaster. I won't bore you with the full Seamaster story, but it launched in 1948, and since then has become an icon in the watch world. Its name has been worn by quite a lot of different watches over the years. These days we say Seamaster and we think of the 300-meter diver, but originally it was just a sort of waterproof watch for town and country, an OG go anywhere, do anything piece. This is what we often mean when we're talking vintage Omega Seamasters. But what are the potential pitfalls? Well, first, prices on old Seamasters have been rising rapidly, meaning that the best vintage Omega watches have moved slowly out of reach. When I first got into the hobby, one of these would run you maybe £300 for a nice automatic, but now we're looking at often 3 times that. But often, even at this higher price point, you're looking at watches that have been used, abused, maybe not serviced, and maybe even Frankenstein with fake dials and possibly even the wrong movements. This means that often you can get yourself a nice looking Seamaster, but also get yourself into some big bills down the line as well. And that's where I think this little 1980s Omega Seamaster Quartz vintage piece comes in. If you've been paying attention, you'll see the often hated word in a nice little script on the dial, quartz. I think we need to be a little kinder to quartz than we often are. It has its time and place. Say, in a watch you just need to work, or a beater you can throw away, or maybe even as a more affordable watch that doesn't need expensive maintenance in the form of servicing. See, this little bad boy comes from what I like to think of as Omega's lost years. They've been to the moon, but the planet Ocean isn't out yet. Their awkward teenage era, that neo-vintage bit. Omega went all in on quartz for a little bit, expecting it to be the future, and this put them quite far behind the rest of the Swiss watchmakers, who became ultra-luxury mechanical manufacturers. Next, Jean-Claude Biver would come in and sort this all out and introduce the coaxial movement. But this little vintage Omega Seamaster Quartz is a product of this awkward era, a reference 1425. I believe it has an Omega signed ETA 922122 inside, so Swiss to the last. What this represents to me is the timeless classical aesthetic you'd hope to get with an old Omega Seamaster, with a bit less of the worry. Sure, you lose the nice sweep, but I doubt anyone has bought a vintage Seamaster specifically for this or its movement. It's about look, feel, and to have that little Greek sign on your wrist. This is where Thorsten Veblen's idea of conspicuous consumption comes into play. Veblen argued that we don't just buy luxury goods for their utility, we buy them to signal status and social standing. A vintage Omega Seamaster isn't just a watch, it's a symbol. The fact that it's Swiss-made, vintage, and carries the Omega name makes it a marker of our taste and class. That's why people are willing to pay a premium for an automatic version. Even if a Quartz Seamaster like this one is more accurate and more reliable, it's not really about how the watch functions, it's about what it says about you and your discerning tastes and your understanding. By buying a vintage watch, you are setting yourself apart from a normal watch buyer, and by buying an automatic, you're setting yourself apart from mass market indulgence. The watch excels as that. See, this watch excels at that feeling of Omega. It's been in my box for just over a year now, and I don't think it's going anywhere soon. Proportions-wise, it's in that Goldilocks zone for me, a 34mm case, a 40mm lug-to-lug, 7mm tall, and a nice slim 18mm lug width. Putting this on, I feel connected to the lineage of Omega that a vintage Seamaster 600 would give me. I can have a chat with a watch person about Omega's history with quartz, and it feels like a subtle, fun thing to wear, unlike a moon swatch. I'm not quite a dial guy to the same extent as Kevin O'Leary, but with this watch, I think I may be. The 12, 6 and 9 markers are just the perfect level of raise to add texture to what is otherwise a relatively flat gold-toned dial. However, to its strength it is simple and minimal. I think this watch would look perfect without a date window, time only and with the 3, but then beggars can't be choosers. I think that brings me around quite nicely to the elephant in the room with this vintage Omega Seamaster. How much does it cost? Well, because of the snobbery towards quartz, you can get this for a quarter of what you'll pay now for an automatic vintage Seamaster, somewhere between £200 and £400, mine on the bottom end of this. What can I say? I'm a good negotiator. But when you take that price into consideration and some of the pros that quartz has going for it, I reckon this watch is one compelling offering as a fun piece in your watch collection, which might deserve a consideration alongside a more traditional mechanical Omega Seamaster. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you like my content, do please consider becoming a channel member. You get a credit and a few other perks like priority comment reply. You can join that by hitting join below. Special thanks to Dr. Kevin Moore who has done so. If you liked the video though, do please like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you next time.